It's the 22nd of May, 2017. It's a typical day in Manchester, England. It's the fourth month of popular music singer Ariana Grande's Dangerous Woman tour. The concert had started at 9 p.m. and was just finishing. Over 14,000 people had enjoyed her performance, the majority of them young. A lot of them were children. It's 10:31.
Oh my god. What's going on? What just happened? What's going on? Oh my god!
A man carrying a homemade explosive weighing over 30 kilograms in his rucksack detonated it in the city room as concertgoers were leaving. 1,017 people were injured and 23 people died, including the bomber. One man's body was so severely damaged that he could only be identified by his leg tattoo. This area was outside of the security perimeter, so had no metal detectors or bag checks to get in. The bomber, Salman Abedi, hid in a spot not covered by any CCTV, but he was seen multiple times. At 10:12, someone asked Abedi what was in the bag. He got no response and reported it. Security guard Kyle Lawler thought Salman was suspicious, but didn't approach him as he worried he might be accused of being racist. Ramadan Abedi and Samia Tabal are the parents of Salman Abedi. In 1993, they came to Britain seeking asylum because of their involvement in Islamist groups in opposition to Gaddafi. By 2007, they had achieved British citizenship due to indefinite leave to remain. After the fall of Gaddafi in 2011, the family moved back and forth between Libya and Britain, which seems like a pretty backward system that you can come here, seek asylum, but when your home country is safe again, you can just stay here. They were entitled to benefits as UK residents, which over their 20 years could total between £300,000 and £500,000 in welfare. Their parents are believed to have had radical Islamist and anti-Western beliefs which rubbed off on their children. Their actions are also very suspicious, with Ramadan initially denying that his son could have ever pulled off the attack, and Samia spoke to her son and asked him for forgiveness, which in Islam can be a farewell before a suicide mission. Although we'll never knew what they truly thought, because they left the UK for Libya just weeks before and refused to give statements about the attack. Salman Abedi, the brother who committed the attack, died at the scene. Born 31st of December 1994, he was a university dropout but continued to receive student loans, using them in making the bomb with his brother Hashem. During his trips to Libya, he's believed to have fought in the civil war in 2011 and had connections to groups affiliated with ISIS, remaining in contact while in the UK. The family regularly attended the Didsbury Mosque, where his father would sometimes lead prayers, and his older brother Ismail was involved in the Quran school at the mosque. The mosque was once the Albert Park Methodist Chapel, but now is known for having two people who would later join ISIS, as well as the Abedis, as members. During his university days, he was reported to counter-terrorism for making comments such as being a suicide bomber is okay, and having a photo of him holding a gun on his phone. He never wrote a manifesto to describe his motives. Hashem Abedi, born 8th of April 1997, was pivotal in creating the bomb, helping get the components and using fraud to buy the chemicals for the bomb, which meant that his fingerprints were found on parts of the bomb and in places where the brothers had stored the bomb. He was arrested in Libya and extradited to the UK. He has an appearance which can only be described as a Libyan chud. During his defense, he tried to feign ignorance by saying if he knew, he would have tried to tell his mother to stop it. He was under 21 during the time of the attack, which by UK law means he couldn't be sentenced to life in prison, and there is no death penalty in the United Kingdom. He was sentenced to a minimum term of 55 years before he can be considered for parole. He has been less than cooperative, refusing to attend court and does not engage with the de-radicalization programs in prison. In 2021, he attacked prison officers while calling them filthy pigs. In April 2025, he attacked 3 prison officers by throwing boiling cooking oil on them and then stabbed them with a blade formed from a baking tray. 2 of them were hospitalized with serious injuries. Should someone who helped blow up 22 people really be allowed to use a kitchen in prison? The oldest sibling was born in 1993. As said before, he led Quran reading lessons at the Disbury Mosque. There is no proven evidence that he was involved or knew anything about the Manchester Arena bombing beforehand, but there are some details that are worrying. In September 2015, he was stopped under Schedule 7 of the Terrorism Act and had his electronic devices searched. On them were songs and materials which support ISIS. There was also violent extremist content, including a man being burned in a cage, which Ismail had captioned, "looking for seasoned firewood." Also, there were images of him and his brothers in armed or combat-type situations. In the aftermath of the attack, he was arrested and held for 14 days when he was released. After this, the authorities finished their forensics work, which found Ismail's DNA on a hammer in a Nissan car used to transport and store explosive materials. Despite the DNA, the Crown Prosecution Service concluded there was not enough evidence to charge him. In October 2021, he was ordered to give evidence to the Manchester Arena bombing public inquiry. He then left the country, presumably back to Libya, so he wouldn't have to go. He stated that he did not want to go to the inquiry as he could incriminate himself. He now has an arrest warrant if he were ever to return to Britain, but he most likely never will. In the aftermath of a minute's silence, one woman began singing a song, "Don't Look Back in Anger," by the Manchester band Oasis. The woman was called Lydia Burnsmeyer Rollo. Her dad works for the BBC, and she would later go on to work for them. She's a lesbian who's on ADHD medication, who says she has religious and dieting trauma and has many, shall we say, interesting political positions. Probably not the kind of thought leader you would want, but all British politicians ran with the idea to not look back in anger, calling for unity against so-called hate. Politicians all agreed on the narrative to emphasize the fact that Salman was British born to avoid difficult questions, with all the newspapers spewing out the government line. The unity, all the singing, and Ariana's return to Manchester made everyone feel all fuzzy and happy. But 22 people are dead in a long line of extremist attacks from people of foreign descent, of people who were supposed to have adopted British values, but they have no interest on doing so. And while some laws were changed after the events, these are all addressing the symptoms, not the root cause. Millions of people who have different views on the worth of innocent lives and will vote completely different ways to the natives, who takes taxpayer money and uses it for extremist attacks, all while politicians who are meant to serve the country stand back and watch the collapse. If nothing changes, it will keep happening again and again and again.